Hey guys, I wanted to show you how you can use 5-minute candles to actually make some good profits even on a move that doesn't have that much spread. I'm sorry, the move should have some spread, but on a move that starts and ends at a position that really aren't favorable for profit, you can still scrape a lot of profit on the up and down swing of all these moves. So let's go to a 5-minute chart here. And there are two indicators that I'm using. I'm using moving average and the Bollinger Band. Now for the moving average, I actually use two of them. I have one of them on a 5 length and one of them on a 13 length. The reason for those numbers is that they are Fibonacci numbers, and Fibonacci numbers tend to work a lot better in any type of trading than say just like a 5 and a 20. You get some better results marginally using fib numbers, so that's how I go about it. Now for the Bollinger Band, I have very unique settings that I just have found work well for this situation. I have a length of 55, which is meaning my top, median, and low are taking 55 candles, and my multiplier is 1.25. So your stock multiplier is at 2, but I put it down at 1.25 because on a 5-minute candle, I want a little bit of a more narrow price range. I want to see what price is doing compared to really more close to the spread of our highs and our lows. So let's get to actually trading this. There are two rules for a safe trade using this method. You want to be under the Bollinger, so places like this, places like this, and you want to have a crossover of your two moving averages. So in this area, we can see that we do have an overall downtrend. From even right here to the bottom, that's a 23% downward move. So without shorting, because BitREX doesn't let you short, how can we make money on that? Well, let's start at the beginning of the move here. After the crash, you don't even try to trade the crash. It's just, you're rolling the dice. We'll start right before. We can start back here. So we have our first crossover on the bottom of the Bollinger. We would buy and we would sell at the crossover over here, right there. So that's giving us a total profit of 11% just by following crossover at the bottom and the crossover at the top. Now mind you, Neo here is kind of a special case at this time because we just had such a large spread. I mean, the distance in this drop was, it dropped 41%. So the price correction and the market trying to figure out what they're going to settle on is going to cause awesome opportunities for using this method. So we had bought and sold using just the crossovers for 10.4% here. We can do it again. Now, I wouldn't necessarily buy here in a normal circumstance as it is already mid-Bollinger, and we could just bounce off the top of the, bounce off the middle Bollinger, as we saw kind of here. But as soon as the crossover occurs above the mid Bollinger, that can be treated as if it bounced off the low Bollinger, because as soon as we get some volume with this crossover right here, and we started to have a confirming candle moving up on top of the mid, that signals that we're going to have another uptrend that's going to kind of widen the Bollinger again from this narrow state. So buying here at the crossover above the mid and selling the crossover right here gives you 14%. Now buying a crossover on top of the top Bollinger is really risky. I wouldn't recommend doing that. This situation, it would have worked out for a few percent, but as you can see, it ultimately came back down and gave us that price point again, only to fall. So let's move on from this point. From here, it's 25, almost 25% that you made in just, how long is this? This is 5:30 to, so this is over a few hours. This is 5 hours actually. But just by getting ready and watching these over time to see when the crossover is going to occur, you can even try and predict to place some buy orders. Like if you're coming down here and you don't know if the price is going to stop, you can set some conditional buys to make sure that you buy at the estimated bottom of this Bollinger if the crossover is about to occur. So moving forward, we have another buy opportunity right here. Oh, right in there. You would buy, and you would sell at the crossover for a 3.49% gain. Now you could of course buy or sell at the middle Bollinger, which in this scenario would have been more profitable. And you over time can start to learn when it's not going to pass through the middle Bollinger, as it does stick to it on these settings really well. So here, personally, I would have sold at the middle Bollinger once we had one test, one breakthrough, and one drop. I would have sold on that drop, giving a little more profit than selling at the crossover. In this situation, that's a couple percent. But just to be safe when you're starting and as you're watching it, buy and sell the crossovers. Moving over, we have another on top of mid Bollinger crossover. So that is a buy point and a sell point at the cross down for another 7%. And you can just keep doing this all day. Under perfect situation, sell at the crossover here, another 7%. So in the scheme of things here, you made a profit of, let's pull up the calculator. You made a profit of 10.44%. You made a profit of 14.415%. You made a profit of 2.72 or some 4, I'm sorry. You made a profit of 7.86 and 7.43. Now keep in mind, Bitrex does charge you 0.25% when you buy and 0.25% when you sell. So per buy and sell pair, you are spending 0.5%. So per trade, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades that we just looked at here. So that's 2.5% in fees, giving you a massive 40% gain. A 40% gain on a move that gained, this situation gave you 32% if you would have bought the lowest possible point. And well, let's do this. If you bought the lowest possible point at the beginning of this move, let's even go down here, and you sold the highest possible point in the move, you would get 41%. That's if you catch it exactly on bottom and sell exactly on top. But this is a lot more consistent. It's a lot safer. You're in, you're out, your money is, back to Tether, back to Bitcoin, whatever you prefer. And even on this segment here, where we had a downtrend, I mean, we moved from, what's this range? We moved down 8%. I mean, ultimately, we did a maximum move downward of 17%. But by the end, we had moved 8% down from this top point, and we pulled 16, 17% profit without shorting and a move that went down. So I really like this method for that. Contact me if you got any questions on this. This does work on 1 minute candles as well. It's just not as consistent, and it's only going to work when you have very high volume. Because for example, if you take something like CVC, 1 minute candles look horrendous. There's nothing you can do here when they have no volume. This is just trades not occurring. I mean, let's look at Litecoin. Even Litecoin, with as much hype as it's had lately, you're just not getting anything readable on the 1 minute chart. So 5 minute chart is best to work with unless you have very high volume. Look at this good one right here on Litecoin. 4% for just buying the crossover and selling the crossover in a move that ultimately did go up. But just reading these points, you can play all up and down here and make a lot of money. All right, guys. Talk to you later.